Tonight we're cooking beef stroganoff, so I'm going to show you some of the ingredients you need to make that. You want to look right over here. We're going to use some butter and some olive oil so that way it doesn't brown. We've got some garlic, some Worcestershire sauce, some white wine, salt and pepper, sour cream. I've got 1.5 pounds of just ground chuck. You can cut that up in cube size. So, about a cup of onions, and we're going to use about a cup of mushrooms and about 4 cups of noodles. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in the pan. We've got a nice hot pan going. So we're going to put some butter in because we want to brown this meat. We want to get it nice and brown. So you can see the butter starting to go. We're going to put a little olive oil in. That way that butter doesn't burn. We're just going to mix that around. Then in goes our meat. You can hear that going. So we're going to let that cook. Probably going to take about 3 to 4 minutes to cook. You can already see it starting to brown up. So what we're going to do is we're going to add just a little bit of salt. I use kosher salt. It's a better grade of salt than your regular table salt. And then you always want to use fresh cracked black pepper. If you don't have a pepper grinder, you can buy them. Just load it up with pepper. Okay, the meat's still browning up right now, so it's a good time to start cooking the noodles. We've got some boiling water over here, so we're just going to go in, like I said, about 4 cups if you're serving 4 people, just enough to get in there, and that usually takes about 10 minutes to cook, so we're going to let those go. Alright, our beef is pretty much cooked, so what we want to do, we want to bring that off into a bowl, and you just want to set that aside for now. It's going to be nice and steaming hot. And you can see there's some broth there in the bottom. We'll check on our noodles. It looks like they're doing good. Give them a little stir just to make sure they don't get lumped up. So next we're going to add our onions. We're going to throw those in right like there. It's like I said, it's about a half a medium onion, 1 small onion. So we're going to get those going. Just in that little bit of broth that was left over. But we're going to thicken that up with the roux in a little bit. So we've got some nice white mushrooms. These are already sliced up, but I'm going to slice them up a little bit more. We're just going to start taking them, just kind of rough chop them. You're still going to get, you know, a pretty decent slice out of it. And like I said, just a couple of handfuls. I don't really cook by measurements. I don't know what a cup is, or a half cup, or a teaspoon. But I just cook what I like. It usually tastes good. If it doesn't, I try something different. So this probably comes out to about 4 to 6 big mushrooms. And you know, you figure it's a heavy mushroom dish, beef stroganoff. So we got all that. We just want to throw that right into the pan. And I'm using a nice big pan, and it looks, you know, kind of like a wok. You can do a stir fry in it. You can also use it, you know, when you're cooking sauces. So I just like having a nice big pan like this. And we'll throw a few more in at the end here. Just kind of break them up. And we're going to come back with a little bit more salt and a little more fresh cracked pepper. You want to season all your food when you're cooking it. And we're just going to give that a stir with the broth. So while that's going, all the flavors are kind of coming together. We're going to add a little bit more of just a canned beef broth, or if you want to make your own, just enough to cover the vegetables a little bit. This is going to help make our sauce at the end. And then we're going to come in with just a little bit of flour. Kind of want to do this slow, so that way you can see how much it starts to thicken up. If you do too much, the sauce gets way too thick. And there's really no flavor, you know, change with adding the flour to it. Like I said, it's just going to help. You've probably heard of it called a roux. Some people make it with butter, flour, grease, and flour. If you do it into a sauce, it does the same thing to help thicken it up. And of course, we're going to be adding some sour cream at the end. That's going to help it thicken up a little bit, make it nice and silky smooth. So you can see it's starting to thicken up just a little bit. but we'll let it go. As it cooks, it'll thicken up a little bit more, almost to like a gravy consistency, and that's kind of what we want there. We're going to check on our noodles. They're doing good. A couple more minutes, they'll be ready to go, and we'll strain those. Okay, you can see the sauce has started to thicken up some with that flour, you know, almost, like I said, almost a gravy consistency. So we're going to add our meat back into here. Just dump that right in. And we're just going to mix everything together. It's a really pretty simple dish. It's only been maybe, you know, 10 to 15 minutes to really cook, 5 minutes to prep. So you can do this. I'm a working dad. I've got a wife and our daughter, and I have to cook just like everyone else does. And I love to cook, especially when it's simple. There's not too many ingredients here. So we've got that all ready. And I'm just going to throw a little more black pepper on, because I really like fresh black pepper. And we're going to throw our wine in. And I know my daughter's only 11, that's going to cook out. Let's just add a little bit of sweetness to it. And we're going to throw our garlic in. Now the reason I didn't throw the garlic in early with the vegetables, with the onions and mushrooms, because a lot of times it can burn. So just, a little teaspoon of chopped garlic right there. Makes it taste pretty good. So we're almost done. We're just finishing up. We're going to add a little Worcestershire sauce for flavor. Maybe about 4 good shots. You don't want to overpower it, but you just want to add to it, to that beef flavor. And it's just about done. We're going to let it go about another 30 seconds, and I'm going to turn the heat off. Just checking our noodles. They're starting to feel just about done. We're at that 10-minute mark, so they should be ready to go. So once this cools down a little bit, I'm going to add some sour cream, and we're going to be just about ready to plate it up.
Your turn.
Okay, we're just about done. We're just going to throw in just a couple of tablespoons of sour cream, just a nice big dollop there. That should do it. And then we'll mix that in. And that's going to finish off the sauce for the beef stroganoff. Our pasta's done. I've already drained that and it's ready to go. So what we're going to do now, we're going to go ahead and start plating it up. Get a plate over here. Just knock that spoon off a little bit. Doesn't matter, all of these flavors are going to get mixed together. So we're just going to put a little bit of pasta out there on the plate. And then we're going to start serving up our stroganoff right on top there. Make sure everything's mixed in nice and good. So right there, I'm just going to back that up a little bit. Now, for a side dish, you really don't want to use anything too heavy, because you've already got a lot of starch in those noodles, so you don't want to use any kind of potatoes. So you can we're having asparagus tonight, but you can use any kind of steamer bag vegetables you want, any squash or carrots or peas and carrots or whatever you want, broccoli. Not a big fan of broccoli, but so out of the bag, we'll bring a couple of those. It's still pretty hot from cooking. So we'll just bring out a couple of pieces of asparagus to go with it. There we go. Put that to the side, and we're going to garnish. This is just some fresh chopped parsley to go on top. And we're going to get a little salt on the asparagus and a little black pepper. And then we're going to finish the stroganoff with just a little paprika. Nice Russian herb to go with a Russian dish. So there we go. There's beef stroganoff with some steamed vegetables. Pretty easy to make. So that's it. That was beef stroganoff. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it, and I'm going to enjoy eating it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.